You can mix the pigment in with your acrylic. Just pour some clear acrylic into a pot and add whatever colour pigment you want. Just add a couple of scoops into the clear. You actually don't need too much, and then just mix really well. The colour isn't going to come through straight away. Just mix for a little bit, but for instance this black is going to look grey. But as soon as we add monomer to it, you can see that it instantly goes a beautiful black. So now we need to apply this onto the nail. And actually levels itself beautifully. You can also mix the pigment in with gel. Add some gel to a small pot. I'm using a pink gel here. You need to really ideally use a transparent gel. And then add the colour of choice, and a tiny amount of pigment, and we're talking a small amount here. And you just mix this into the gel. You can see how far and how vibrant that colour will become. Okay, and then we're going to apply that onto a marbled nail. So we're just going to apply our gel, and we're going to create a nice marbled effect on this free edge. I'm using white, and we're going to use the red pigment coloured gel. Just need to then marble it in together with the needle pen. You can use your pigment directly with your monomer. Wipe off any excess monomer and then dip so that you have a small bead on the very tip of your bristles, and then apply directly onto your acrylic. So to apply the gold pigment, you literally just pop it straight onto your acrylic. I'm going to do this so that it comes down from the smile line, but there's all sorts of different possibilities. You can have this as a patchwork quilt over the nails, you can have this as a colour blend, and then just blend it all the way down. And the more you rub, the thinner it will get, which means that you can have this beautiful faded effect. You can mix the pigment in with water. Dip your brush into the water and then dip straight into your pot of pigment, and just mix on top of a palette so you get the correct consistency. You can add more water or add more pigment depending on how thick or how thin you want the paint to be. I tend to use a thicker brush to do this, but for this design I'm going to want thin lines, so I'm going to use a thinner brush. Make sure I've got the right consistency, and then I apply. You then add that water to the pigment, and you can see how it thins it out and creates a beautiful blend. You don't have to worry about paint drying out, because if your pigment sits out all day and the water evaporates, you just come back to your pigment with a wet brush. This silver pigment is a burnished silver, so all the pigment comes as pellets, but it makes it perfect to mix with water. Simply pick up one of these beads, one of these pellets, just allow the water to dissolve it, and this is going to give you a metallic effect on anything that you do. You can use this within your acrylic design, or you can use this with nail art as well. I generally use this around the tips of flowers. So now you can use your pigment as paint. What I'm going to do here is I've created this flower, and around the edges of the petals I'm going to make it really pop out. This is a perfect little tip if you are embedding your flowers, because it gives a real 3D effect. But you can see here that the lines aren't blended very well. If this was regular paint, you would be stuck with that. But with the pigments, it's really easy to blend in. So re-dipping your brush into some water, you then add that water to the pigment, and you can see how it thins it out and creates a beautiful blend. You see how it's blended nice? Another thing that you can use your pigments for is for regular nail art. Just creating thin lines like you would with paint. You don't have to worry about paint drying out, because if your pigment sits out all day and the water evaporates, you just come back to your pigment with a wet brush. And then to make your flowers really pop out, just add your silver, and then your flowers are ready to cap, file and go. And don't forget, you can mix these pigments together to create a whole range of new colours. Be creative. Add glitter or anything that you have in your toolkit to the pigments and really make them sing. Let me show you how to mix a pink. Just add your white pigment and a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of your red, and just mix it together. Oh, you can use this with water, acrylic, gel, or even picking it up with monomer. And now for my favourite combination, and something a little bit rich and vibrant. Add some red, and then use the metallic colours to give it a nice rich metallic sheen. With a little bit of water, it has some depth to the paint.